This is Rob McConnell wishing each and every one of you a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy, prosperous New Year. From our home to yours, love, light, and spirituality today and every day from this day forward. Merry Christmas, everyone.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Talk like Marlene Dietrich, and you dance like Zizi Jeanmaire. Your clothes are all made by Balmain, and there's diamonds and pearls in your hair. Yes, there are. You live in a fancy apartment off the boulevard Saint-Michel, where you keep your Rolling Stones records and a friend of Sacha Distel, yes you do. But where do you go to, my lovely?
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Chrissie Blaze, and Chrissie is an international speaker and author of 8 published books. She is a regular media guest and has conducted lectures and workshops at conferences and expos in the U.S. and the United Kingdom on subjects from astrology to spiritual healing to UFOs. She and her husband Gary were regular keynote speakers on Directed Intention and prayer at Lynn McTaggart's Living the Field conferences in London for several years, alongside frontier scientists in quantum physics. They were also invited by Marianne Williamson to conduct spiritual event in Royal Oak, Michigan, where they now live, having moved there in 2008 from Los Angeles, California. Chrissie is a professional astrologer, and she's qualified at the Faculty of Astrological Studies, London, in the early 1980s. She is also qualified as a lecturer with credentials from the University of London, England, and was certified as a healing instructor with the State Board of California. Joining me now is Chrissie Blaze, and Chrissie, always great having you back on the X-Zone. How are you, my friend?
Oh, very well, thank you, Rob. Thanks so much for having me back.
It's always great talking to you, Chrissie. You know, things change in this world of ours, but one thing that is constant is people's interest in what you and I talk about all the time. In fact, more and more people are showing greater interest in astrology, greater interest in spiritual healing, greater interest in New Age topics, greater interest in UFOs than ever before in this planet's history. How does that make you feel, being one of the first people that was out there talking and telling the people this?
Yeah, it's a great thing, and you're so right there, Robert. I mean, it's so true. I was speaking last week to a group of holistic doctors, actually, and psychiatrists about UFOs, and as usual, I was kind of leading up to it with talking of sightings and proofs of sightings and various things. And they stopped me and they said, you know what, we believe that. We believe that extraterrestrials are on Earth. We believe in contacts. We want to know about, much more in-depth why they're here. So things have really moved, because 10, 20 years ago, you would have had to build. You
Yeah.
had to build it up and state your case and really kind of prove it. So you're absolutely right.
Chrissie, are we any closer to understanding the reason why these beings from another planet, another dimension, or another universe are actually coming to this planet?
Well, I think if we look at all the signs, we can see that they're here for compassionate, helpful reasons. The fact that they have contacted various world leaders throughout our history and offered things like methods to heal all disease, advanced technology, and so on. And the fact that they've been seen, and only recently, as you know, reported in the media about over nuclear power plants have been known to actually disarm nuclear weapons, and the fact that they have come and taught, and as I know firsthand, having worked with one of the genuine contactees, Dr. King, for many years, they have given bodies of teachings and messages which are helpful, which are compassionate, which offer us a solution. So you can put all these together and come to the conclusion that they are here to help mankind. They're here for compassionate reasons.
Chrissie, stand by. You and I have to take our first 2-minute break. Exo Nation, Chrissie Blaze is our special guest. www.chrissieblaze.com and www.deeperintolove.com. And Chrissie and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as the X Zone continues. We're right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Back in Victorian England, a famous theologian posed a perplexing riddle. Why are the two top personalities in the Bible tagged with the numbers 7 and 11? Academics agree the answer is found in the stunning discovery of a hitherto secret Bible structure explained in a new book called The Genesis Grid. The discovery is so simple that preschool children could illustrate it. Certain claims are hugely controversial and may offend some, but at the X Zone, we've studied this awesome new book and agree with one expert, and I quote, "These discoveries appear to be beyond coincidence." So who or what hid this wonderful pattern in the Bible, and what might they do next? Find out more, X Zone Nation, and read reviews on www.genesisgrid.co.uk. That's www.genesisgrid.co.uk.
Being beat up and battered around, being sent up and I've been shut down. You're the best thing that I've ever found. Handle me with care. Reputation's changeable, situation's tolerable, but baby you're adorable. Handle me with care. I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really
And welcome back, everyone. Chrissie Blaze is my special guest this hour. And Chrissie, do you think that by Bob Salas coming out at the press club in Washington, D.C., where he talked about the events that were happening at nuclear weapons sites as well as over nuclear facilities in the United States, that more people caught it this time than they did the last time that he did it?
Well, I think so. I think it had more coverage in mainstream media, didn't it, Rob? You'd know better than I did. But I saw it on Fox News and CNN, and that really wasn't the case previously, was it?
Not really. Before it was just kind of, oh yeah, here we go again, another wacko out there. But like you pointed out, more and more mainstream media seem to pay attention to it this time.
Now, why do you think that is, Rob? I wanted to ask you that, because why do you think mainstream are covering it more?
Well, I think that because of the interest in the populace, number one. Number two, the fact that this time when he did it, I believe that the war on terrorism as well as the nuclear capability of certain countries in the Middle East certainly were there to raise the awareness of the people. And there seemed to be a lot of different elements that were involved in the news of the day that weren't present the last time. And I think all these factors certainly had their part to play in the amount of media coverage that they did receive.
Well, that's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know you've been covering these things for decades, but it's great when you see things starting to break in the mainstream, isn't it?
It certainly is, Chrissie. It's great to see the mainstream media looking at it. However, even all these years that I've been covering this topic and many other topics, still, I'm still waiting to see that smoking gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's up to people to kind of take it a step further, don't you? It's like, at the moment it's intellectual stimulation, but people take it a step further by talking about your show, by studying it, and really taking that step, I think, is important.
If the information is out there, I'd love for the people to come forward with it. The proof, the undeniable proof that so many people believe is out there. And with today's technology, Chrissie, and with the availability of cameras in every cell phone and so on and so forth, you'd think that the pictures would be able to be taken to prove that these are real. And still, I can't see any of these pictures. I can't see any evidence that to me says, you know what, here's the smoking gun.
Yeah, I can tell you a story. You can believe it or not, but it's true. And something that is proof, undeniable proof. That is, Dr. George King, who I have been a student of for many, many years, was, I believe, a genuine contactee, one of the few that began in the 50s, when there were a few around, Dan Fry and various other people. But George King was one. And in the 1980s, it was during the time of Chernobyl, and I can't remember, I think it was 1986, wasn't it, Chernobyl? Something like that, yeah. He was traveling with a colleague of mine, Dr. Richard Lawrence, who's also been on your show.
Yes.
And they were staying in a hotel somewhere, I can't remember where, and he was contacted by extraterrestrial intelligences, and he was told that something very dire, devastating was about to happen in Russia, and he was given the area and some of the details, not all the details, but he was told that the Etheria Society, of which he founded, should activate all their spiritual energy radiators worldwide, which is a technology that Dr. King invented to bring healing and harmony into the world because of this very, very dangerous situation, which he did. Everybody was on alert, and these spiritual energy radiators were activated. And this was, he later got more intelligence about this. And all this was published and available before Chernobyl hit the news. And, it was known the area, it was known what was going on, and so on. So, this is one of the many proofs that we've had over the years that extraterrestrial intelligences are watching us, have contacted us through Dr. King and other people, and they are here helping us.
Why do you think they're here, Chrissie? Because, when we look at the world today, we see all the hunger, we see all the disease, we see the threat of nuclear war in the Middle East. Why don't they step in and say, you know what, we're not going to let you destroy this planet and yourselves anymore?
Well, they wouldn't let us destroy the planet because we've already done that once. With previous civilization of before Atlantis, before Lemuria, there was one called Maldek, which now is in the asteroid belt is just rocks, lumps of rocks, which even recently I was reading that some scientists believe that there was a planet actually in this area of space, and indeed there was, which we destroyed through nuclear explosion. And they would not allow us to do that again, to destroy this planet. But apart from that, we have free will, and they respect that. They respect the law of karma, which is one of the great laws of creation, and they only will move. They will only, if we take one step, they can take a step too. So we have to keep taking those steps. But they can't or they won't. They could if they wanted to, but they won't sort of overstep the mark. And also there's another factor too, and that's a psychological one, that I believe if they landed in Hyde Park or Central Park, people would look at it with interest and it would hit the news for a while, and then after about a week, apathy would set in and people would just walk past, and carry on their lives as usual. And I think in other words, we have to be ready for it. We have to be ready. We have to be ready to accept the change that would come. And I also believe, and the Aetherius Society teaches too, that there will be coming a next master or avatar or teacher to this earth, as all the great religions teach also. But this time he will not come, or she will not come limited by the limitations that they previously had. Will come with all the full powers, so that they can then take over. The media can take over and so on and propound their message. And their magic, if you like, will be greater than the combined materialistic might of, all the armies. And so I believe this will come, and I think more and more extraterrestrial intelligence will be walking among us and so forth in the future. But we're not there yet. We're not ready for that yet.
When do you think this will happen, Chrissie? Are we talking? Is there a connection or correlation with the arrival of the ETs, with the galactic alignment, with the end of the Mayan calendar, with the dawning of the New Age, or what are they waiting for? How can we prepare ourselves?
Well, I think we are, as you said earlier in the show. You said things are changing, and now people are much more accepting than they were 10, 20 years ago. Because you and I know, because we've been around the block.
Yes, we have. Many times.
Talking about these subjects for 10, 20 and more years. So times they are changing, and people are ready to know more, but it still only really is the minority. Wouldn't you agree, Rob? Rather than the majority.
Yeah, definitely the minority. Definitely the minority.
The thinking minority. And I think also that those thinking minority, the people that listen to your show and so on, the people that think more and they're not apathetic, I think they still need to take another step. And hey, check out the Aetherius Society, because we've got a body of messages, over 600 of them, which contain fantastic teachings and proof and all sorts of things, if people will study with an open mind.
In Exonation, that's a great point that you brought up, and thank you, Chrissie. If you'd like to visit the Aetherius Society's website, it's Aetheriism. AETHERIUS.org.
IUS.
Yeah.
IUS. Yeah. Sorry, it's difficult.
But it is a great website, and we've had the pleasure of talking to you and other people from the Aetherius Society. And where did your interest in UFOs come from, Chrissie?
I think I've always had it since I was a kind of a psychic child. And I was always interested in, my grandmother used to say when I was 4, your thoughts are things. And she kind of got me on the start, and she left me, when she died, all the Alice Bailey books when I was only a kid, So I was always intrigued, and I suppose I'm what you call curious about life. And I had sightings, but a little bit later on. But it just always seemed to be so logical to me to accept that life wasn't limited to this planet, and look around, and if it is, gosh, is that the sum total of life in creation? No, I don't think so. It just didn't make sense to me. So it's always been something that seems so logical, that intelligent life exists outside this planet.
God, I hope it exists somewhere outside this planet, because when you take a look at the morning news, it sure as heck doesn't exist many times on this planet, I'll tell you.
I know.
It's these are hard times. A lot of people are looking for answers. And you know what, Chrissie? I found that there are even those who believe in UFOs because they're looking for an easy way out. They're looking for someone or something to solve all their problems for them, and that's not going to happen.
No, absolutely. No, we have to, stand on our own 2 feet and solve our own problems. But I do think that extraterrestrial would, if we took that step, they would come and offer us solutions, because they have advanced technology, as you know, and I think there are solutions, but still we have to take the steps, and there's a lot we can do, and we're supposed to be doing, just in spiritual ways, opening our hearts and sending our love to the world and trying to bring a kind of a harmony and more balance to this crazy world of ours is a job that we should do.
It's a job that some are trying, but not enough. So, Chrissie, you and I will be talking more about this on the other side of the news. Chrissie Blaze is our special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. Always great having Chrissie with us here on the X-Zone. www.chrissieblaze.com and www.aetherius.org. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Chrissie Blaze and I return on the other side of the news. That's a bit of a tongue twister sometimes. Whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be right back.
From our home to yours, this is Laura Rogers, wishing all the members of the X-Zone Nation a very Merry Christmas and a happy and joyful New Year.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
A witch doctor's power and his ancient tribal ways cruelly collide with the force and authority of modern Africa. Africa is viewed through myriad eyes. You will never forget these characters. A young girl forced to endure a painful, cruel, and antiquated tribal custom. The sole survivor of a vicious tribal massacre. A nun who endures physical assault that compels her to question her faith. A deprived, disadvantaged schoolgirl who is infected with HIV. The translucent soul of a murdered friend. Welcome to Africa's Unfinished Symphony. While the tale of South Africa in the wake of World War II is riveting, violent, and cruel, it is also brimming with stories of kindness, compassion, and courage. Africa's Unfinished Symphony highlights commanding characters who not only bring haunting racial clashes to life, but also convey the intense conflicts that existed between archaic customs and modern influences. You will be captivated as you follow the convoluted path of Farida, of the ancients battling to become Bertha of the modern world. But are the outcomes of her struggle the best results for her and her beloved Africa? Africa's Unfinished Symphony will immerse you in historic African themes that will jolt you out of complacency and into compassion. For more information on how you can get your very own copy of Africa's Unfinished Symphony, visit www.luciamann.com. That's www.luciamann.com.
Hi, this is Eric Rawls of Cosmoverse.com, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X-Zone.
Hi, this is Blade Runner, and you are listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Hi, I'm Laura Sabrin of Feast to Fields Organic Vineyard in Jordan, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Hi, my name is Lady Ashley, the White Witch of Niagara-on-the-Lake, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal talk radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you this love in my heart that I'm feeling for you. Let them say we're crazy. I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby. Don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. And we can build this thing together.
Chrissie Blaze is my guest of this hour, X-Zone Nation. And Chrissie, what do you think we can start doing to change the world? You know, I'm sure that if we all did something, some little thing, that we could make such a difference in this world of ours that people would just sit back in awe and say, well, why didn't we do this before?
Yeah, I think one thing we can, whatever religion we have or whichever philosophy we might have, I think we can raise our hands in prayer and send more love into the world, and whichever way we do it. One of the teachings received through Dr. King very simply said, if you're a Christian, be a good one. If you're a Buddhist, be a good one. If you're a Hindu, be a good one, etc. So it's like people should live their belief, whatever they are. If they're humanitarian, it really doesn't matter, because I think these are the days of spiritual action. And just try as good as they can to live a great life, sending out their love, helping people. You know, it all comes down to that, actually, I believe. The end of the day.
Chrissie, what is satellite number 3 and what is it doing?
Well, this is something that a satellite which Dr. King was first told had been in orbit of Earth, well, probably for a long time, but first became aware of it in the 1950s, 1955. And its sole purpose of this satellite, which for obvious reasons is not visible, and cannot be detected by radar, etc. Its sole purpose is to tune into every single person on Earth and who is doing something good or something spiritual or something helpful, and magnifying the effects of their actions. And you might think in the 1950s, when we first heard that, you might have thought this is impossible to be able to pinpoint a person on Earth. But if you think about it now, we do it with Google Maps, and it seems very much a part of our technology now. But, of course, they take it the next step. They have the technology to actually magnify the effect, the karmic effect, the power of the action we're doing by a factor of 3,000 times. And we have these periods. Actually, we're in one now until December the 10th. 4 times every year, we have the period. They're the same dates every year, and it seems incredible, I know. But can I tell you a little story about?
Oh, please do. Yeah, please do, Chrissie.
I was on a radio station in Brighton, in England, years ago, and it was late at night. It was like 2 in the morning or something. Well, you know about those early morning shows. And I didn't know if anybody was listening out there, but I was chatting to the host. I was in the studio, and he was asking me about satellite number 3. And so I said, well, why don't we raise our hands in prayer and send out a prayer? So he did, and I did, and we didn't think any more about it. But the following week, for every single day, this radio station was inundated with calls for people who had been healed. One lady who hadn't been able to go outside for years, she had a phobia, was able to go outside. People saw lights, golden lights, violet flames, all sorts of things. many, many different experiences, so much so that this made the front page of the local newspaper. And I think eventually the poor radio show was sort of hounded out of the station because it was kind of very controversial, as you might think. So it was very, very... I'm not saying it was my prayer or anything like that. I'm saying I think it was a demonstration of the power of satellite number 3. And people can prove it for themselves. Just be conscious of it, be aware of it, and see when you are sending healing to someone, see if you feel a difference. Because I know when I do, inside a spiritual bush and an outside one, I feel a tremendous difference. But then I've been attuning with them for many, many years, and so on. It's something we cooperate with in the Aetherius Society. So it's a very, very interesting thing and a very wonderful, compassionate craft. And I always think if you were a compassionate, technologically advanced master from another planet, an extraterrestrial intelligence, and you were looking at the world and wondering how you could help with your technology, then to me this seems a very kind of logical way to help mankind, that they would empower the results of all the good that's being done, irrespective of religious belief or anything like that. So this is satellite number 3, and people can check out more about it on the website, aetherius.org, if they wish to, and cooperate with it.
Chrissie, earlier you and I talked about the coming of another master. Would this be equivalent to Christianity's the second coming of Christ?
I think so. I mean, I don't believe necessarily it will be Christ, but if you look at all the major religions, there's talk of a second coming of a great avatar or master or teacher, and I think it's definitely true. And there have been great teachers throughout history, so I think this will definitely happen. And then we'll have to step up to the plate, because we're told that he's going to come with all his powers, and because I believe, and I don't know whether you do, Rob, but anyway, I'm just stating my belief that the great avatar Jesus was an extraterrestrial intelligence who came in great sacrifice and great limitation to save a world, if you like.
One question I have about that is, why did he come so early? Why didn't he come now in our greatest time of need?
Well, I believe it was our great time of need at that time. If you think about civilization, it was very, very corrupt. I mean, we're pretty bad now, but that was a terrible time. And, the karmic scales, I mean, another of our belief is karma and reincarnation. Every act we do, everything we say, we're creating positive or negative karma, not just for ourselves, but we're helping to create negative or positive karma for the karma of humanity, if you like. And the karmic scales were tipping out of balance at that time. And I believe this great, wonderful, amazing Son of God, if you like, avatar of love, came and died. And I think it was his plan to do so in order to manipulate our karma. And what a tremendous sacrifice for us. And many other great masters, I believe, have come from other planets. Lord Buddha, Sri Krishna, Lao Tse, etc.
And yet, when we look at the different religious philosophies of the world, are we talking about the same events with different names, or are we talking about independent events that are all part of the major event?
A great plan, you mean?
Yes.
I believe there is a great cosmic plan for the enlightenment of humanity, if you like. And I think it's all part of an ancient plan devised by the ancient ones who looked into time and saw apparently inevitable results. And other great beings, their souls leapt within them, and they made this great offer to virtually live with humanity, which must have been in some ways like us living with pigs in a pen, to someone like the great Master Jesus, for example, who was so far above us that we can't even contemplate. And it had such an impact that 2,000 years later is still having this tremendous impact. We can't even really contemplate the power of such a being as this.
Tell me, Chrissie, what are your thoughts on reincarnation?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I believe in reincarnation. I think it's one of those, goes hand in hand with karma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're learning, we're growing, we're evolving, you know, and it just doesn't make sense to me that someone would be born and 3 years old like a Mozart and, you know, creating amazing music or doing some incredible thing as a child unless they'd had previous experiences. And also I have memory of a past life of mine, and I think it's very well proven, actually.
Because if we do come back, do we come back willingly? Is this part of the plan where we come back and we, as many people believe, we come back to learn more or to make amends? And if so, what is the grand purpose if we do have the ability to tap into the universal consciousness? Why do we need to put ourselves through the trials and tribulations that so many are going through on this planet right now?
Well, it takes us a long time to learn a lesson. You know, when we have something we have to learn, we know, if we're honest, how long it takes us to learn it. You know, sometimes it's just a small thing that we need to change. I mean, I'm an astrologer, so I'm dealing with people's and my own, you know, challenges every day of my life. And I see that even to me, a small thing, and it's the same with me, you know, to someone else that would be a small thing, it takes us years and years and years to learn it. And so all the things that we have to learn, we ain't going to be able to learn it in one lifetime. It's kind of impossible. Plus, we've got to, you know, manifest our potential and our godliness and go through different stages of enlightenment and so on. So it's taking us a long time and a lot of effort, I believe.
But if we're all coming back and if we're all learning these lessons, why is it necessary that we come back here to this planet and not learn these lessons in the great classrooms of the universe?
Well, I believe we do, you see. I believe we definitely do. And in the Ethereal Society, we believe that the other planets in this solar system are also inhabited, not necessarily on the physical plane, because just like this planet has higher mental realms and also lower ones too, unlike the other planets, so do the other planets have higher realms. And we believe that they are inhabited, and once we've learned all the lessons from on this planet, we can either then choose to be part of the spiritual hierarchy of this earth, sometimes known as the Great White Brotherhood, white referring to their magic, not their color, of course, or we can go on to join the reincarnatory cycles of the other planets. And we're kind of like the bottom of the solar classroom, if you like, on this planet.
That certainly doesn't surprise me. The animals and the other living species on this planet, where do they fit into the big plan?
Yeah, they certainly do. I don't believe we are reincarnated as an animal. I certainly don't believe that. I think they're different life forms, different life streams, if you like. But I do believe that they are also evolving, and just as we are. And eventually, I think they have more of a group consciousness. But eventually, they, as they evolve, they become more, gain more, not group consciousness, more individual consciousness, if you like, and may go on and form other life streams, other types of animals. I don't know about that at all, but I do know they are evolving just as we are.
Chrissie, what is the next logical step to take?
The next logical step, well, I would say, is check out the Ethereal Society, because as one source, look at your own life honestly and see whether you can, get more involved in this whole issue of the revelation of truth about UFOs. Support you and your program and what you're doing, Rob. Really kind of pull out all the stops, talk to people, raise their hands in prayer, find out about satellite number 3, try and cooperate with it in your own way. many, many things that people can do.
What is your take on December the 21st, 2012? Is it the end of the world, Chrissie?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be one of those times. I mean, astrologically, leading up to that point is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next year is going to be really interesting. And this year, actually, earlier on was very interesting with the cardinal climax, just a whole other subject. But the actual date itself, I think it's going to come and go rather like January the 1st, 2000.
Oh, gosh, remember that Y2K fiasco. Gosh.
Yeah.
That was something.
But still, I'm sorry.
I said that was something. I remember people being paranoid and just wondering where they were going to get the power or where they were going to get the food, where they were going to be able to... And I know it was just like, what are you worrying about? It's another day and all you have to do, and I'm sure the bigger companies figured this out, is just go into your computer's clock and move the day backwards. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
People panic for no reason at all.
Out.
Yeah. Chrissie,
I know that's... I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Chrissie, stand by. You and I have to take our final break. Exonation, Chrissie Blaze is our special guest, and Chrissie and I will be back on the other side of this commercial. But if you'd like to find out more about Chrissie, www.chrissieblaze.com or aetherius.org. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Don't go away.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multifamily dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com. If you enjoy reading a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love From Out of the Woodwork by William S. Peckham. Sean Kennedy, a Toronto contractor, buys derelict houses, guts them, and turns them into multifamily dwellings. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, a century house in ruins, and starts the renovation, the house fights back. He is visited by ghosts of owners past. His visions are triggered by touching an oak mantle, reading a faded letter, opening an old locket, or opening a brand new casket in the basement. These visions will take you on a trip across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Toronto to Kingston. From Out of the Woodwork is now available in paperback and on your favorite electronic reader. To order your copy of From Out of the Woodwork, go to www.williamspeckham.com. That's www.williamspeckham.com.
Exonation, Chrissie Blaze is our special guest. And Chrissie, you and I were talking about a sighting during the commercial break, and you wanted to share it with the Exonation.
Oh, yes, just because I heard another part to this sighting when I was giving a talk last week, which is very interesting. You were asking about UFOs earlier and some of the reasons they're here, and I believe some of the reasons are to demonstrate a spiritual dimension, and also they have over the years demonstrated their great power through control of matter, through the nuclear weaponry that we talked about earlier. But one example of this I was very involved with in 1989 in England, and it was a sighting and a manifestation and a dematerialization that took place in Voronezh near Moscow. Don't know if you remember that one, Rob.
No, I don't.
Anyway, I know there's so many. But we heard the report from TASS, and I was on the phone with TASS about this amazing sighting, and I can recall it very well. And it was met with ridicule and skepticism by the British and American press, I remember, and then it was ignored. But this was at the height of Glasnost, 1989. And you remember this wonderful new spirit of openness that was emerging from Russia after Gorbachev said, "I detest lies." And all this stuff was coming out. And this sighting was a spacecraft landed at a bus stop in Voronezh near Moscow, and an extraterrestrial got out of the spacecraft, and he dematerialized and then rematerialized a person at the bus stop as a show of his power, demonstration of their ability, but harmless, and then he left behind a piece of rock. Well, I was on the phone about this with TASS over several days, and I heard that the rock had been sent to a laboratory, and I later learned from TASS that they had discovered that this rock was not of this world. But then after that, I couldn't see anything in the press at all. It sort of disappeared. But anyway, interestingly enough, this is 1989, if you remember. I was speaking last week, and one of the ladies there said that this is amazing because she read in Sedona Press an article about this sighting, and also, apparently, according to this journalist, the extraterrestrial then went on to meet with Gorbachev, and apparently was connected to the coming down of the Berlin Wall, which took place in 1989, the same year. So whether that's true or not, I think it's very, very interesting.
It certainly is a nice story, and I can only hope that it is real, because this is the kind of thing that I would like to see happen. There are a lot of people who believe that the extraterrestrials are harvesting us and growing us for their own evil deeds, whether it be as workers in a prison camp or whether we be the next dinner on their plates. So I would much rather hear these stories of positive interaction than I certainly would with the negativity. Chrissie, we've got about 30 seconds left. What would you like to leave the Exo Nation with tonight?
Oh, I'd love people to check out the Ethereal Society. And, I wanted to say, if anyone out there needs healing, needs help, then they can always call us, or best thing to do, email, because there's not always someone on the phone. Email me, chrissieblaze@msn.com. And the Ethereal Society has a band of healers and people who want to help and so on. So if anybody wants help, just shoot me an email.
Chrissie, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us. Please give my very best to Gary, and I look forward to the next time you meet me back here in the X Zone. Until then, my friend, take care of yourself.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. Take care, Rob. Take
care, Chrissie. Chrissie Blaze, www.chrissieblaze.com or www.aetherius.org. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away now.